Hey there, good morning. Good morning. It's time to rise and receive. Welcome to your 10-minute morning send off that's designed to support you in receiving what you most want by unlearning struggle. So, today we're going to talk about how to invite good fortune when you feel conflicted. So, I invite you to think about that. Maybe you found yourself here because you read my invitation on Facebook about feeling conflicted and it resonates for you. Maybe you just, no accident, but found yourself here and there's a message for you today. But I'd like you to start by thinking about where you feel conflicted, if you feel conflicted in your life, if it's maybe a conflict between your own needs and the needs of somebody in your life. So it's a conflict in relationship. Maybe you feel conflicted about a particular problem you're trying to solve or solution where, you could go A or you could go B and, you're going back and forth. Whatever that is, just kind of think about that, let it be here. And as you just let that conflict or struggle be here, lean back and take this as an opportunity to receive something that will help you. Let that be your invitation today. So if you don't know me, my name is Sonia Miller. I'm a speaker, coach, and best-selling author, and I am passionate about teaching people how to receive. Because receiving is its own very specific, very concrete, and very results-producing skill set. But I have found in my time as a coach for many years now that most people don't know how to receive. What we know how to do is work hard, pursue, hunt, figure out, strategize, think. We're really good seekers. But at some point, the seeking has to stop. And you need to know how to receive, because if you don't know how to receive what you've been seeking, you're going to just keep working hard for the rest of your life. And I'm equally as passionate about illuminating this idea that much struggle in life is learned. Some of it is natural, but most of it is learned. And so when you have learned to work hard and you over-rely on it because you don't know how to receive, you don't know the alternative to hard work, then you have adopted, embraced, and become well ingrained in what I call the hard work ethic, and you really have kind of succumbed to the learned struggle that just isn't necessary. And as you unlearn it, receiving your fulfillment becomes so much easier. So with that, what I did today, as I do each morning, is I pulled a card from my Receive card deck, which is brand new and coming out in the new year. And conflict has been in my orbit for the last week. When you feel conflicted about something, when you're wrestling, and usually what's happening is when you feel conflicted, there's at least two parts of you. Like part of you wants to go this way and part of you wants to go that way. So I've been contemplating this. And so I asked the cards, I spread them out and I closed my eyes and I said, okay, so on behalf of anyone and everyone who's struggling with conflict or feeling conflicted, how do we invite good fortune? What's going to serve? And so the card that I pulled today is this: Receive Fulfillment. Receive fulfillment. So I'm not going to read the whole card, as I already did a whole video on that, and I'll include a link to it, but I do want to illuminate and excerpt a part of it so that we can really unpack it. Okay, so this is the part I'd like to share with you today, and I invite you to close your eyes if you like, just let the words wash over you, and begin to see how this starts to present new possibilities around how to relate to your conflict. Here we go. All right. Unfulfillment is based in the belief that something is missing. As long as certain parts of you are unwelcome, this feeling will persist. Fulfillment, however, is the feeling you experience when wanting is absent. It feels like all is right in my world. Gratitude, overflowing joy, peace, and well-being. In other words, nothing is missing. So how does the feeling of wanting become absent? It can occur when you allow everything to be as it is. I'm going to say that again. This is a highlight for today. It can occur when you allow everything to be as it is. As you practice replacing fixing yourself with accepting yourself, as you explore how to receive every feeling that arises within you with gentleness and compassion, as you become willing to discover how to be the safest place in the world for you, then those parts of you that have longed to come home are finally brought back into the fold. The feeling of wanting softens, and the wholeness that you've always been comes alive for you in your heart as you become full and filled with all of you. This in turn allows you to receive the joyfully fulfilling expressions of life that have always been here but didn't have a place to enter. I'm going to say that again too. This in turn allows you to receive the joyfully fulfilling expressions of life that have always been here but didn't have a place to enter. So, if you are feeling conflicted, if you're struggling with something, here's a willingness mantra that absolutely can help. And you can take it off into your day. Let this be your send-off. Anytime you're feeling conflicted, just say this mantra to yourself and see what happens. And then if you want to stick around, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into how to work with conflict in a really empowering way so that you can invite more good fortune. So here's your mantra. I am willing to discover the joyful fulfillment of being my own safe haven. I am willing to discover the joyful fulfillment of being my own safe haven. So, conflict. Let's talk about that. So, this weekend, while I was contemplating and exploring conflict, I posted on Facebook a public service announcement. And I was a little amazed at how much it seemed to strike a chord for people. I got lots of responses to this, at least, likes and hearts and, light bulbs going off. And this is what I posted as the public service announcement. So I invite you to take it on and consider it. It went like this. That thing that you just can't get over, give yourself permission to not get over it. So I just want to let that land. That thing that you just can't get over, give yourself permission to not get over it. Now, if you're like most people, when there is something that you are feeling conflicted about or struggling, it's something that you just can't get over. And what happens is we get so locked, we're so in this groove, brainwashed, indoctrinated, learned struggle, that we can't stop struggling with it. We can't stop dealing with it until we get over it. So we're just lost in this conflict and the struggle and this conflict and the struggle. And that usually all happens up here in the mind. Now, what happens is that mental space, because I talk a lot about space with receiving. We have mental spaces in which we receive. We have heart spaces in which we receive. Our body's a space in which we receive. You cannot receive unless there's a space in which to receive. But when that space is full, just like the bowl, it's either empty and can receive more soup, or it's full and it can't. When that space is full, you cannot receive the next kind thing that life wants to offer you. Life is always offering kindness, always offering solutions, always offering next steps, possibilities, inspiration, answers. It's always being offered, but if your hands are full, there's no place in which to receive it. So when you are conflicted and struggling, the space is filled up with the struggle and the conflict. That thing you can't get over is filled with you trying to solve it. So when you give yourself permission to not get over it, all of a sudden that struggle can land. It can just be here. It can just be here. Let it be here. And then the space itself is the invitation for good fortune, for the next thing that life wants to offer. So with that, I also wanted to shine the light on this idea of doing conflict versus being conflict. Okay? What I actually mean is, what do I do in relationship to this conflict, or how do I be in relationship to this conflict? And so what causes us to struggle, what causes this conflict to block the flow of life, to block the invitations of good fortune, basically it's like this instead of come here, invitation, is that what we usually do, which is part of how we over-rely on this doing model of power, is we encounter a conflict, we're dealing with a conflict, and our mind is saying, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? That what do I do that's up in the head and all action oriented usually is being related to in an either or. So there's either A or B, and that's it. That is it. There's a right answer. And the problem with that is when you're dealing with conflict, there isn't a clear answer. There isn't a clear path. Otherwise, you wouldn't feel conflicted. And so the opportunity here as we learn how to open up to the being model of power is to explore, how do I be in a relationship with conflict? Well, back to that thing that you just can't over, give yourself permission to not get over it. Just like this card says, let it be here. I'm going to read that part again so you can just let it sink in even more deeply. So how does the feeling of wanting become absent? You're wanting solution. You're wanting peace. You're wanting a clear path. But if you're wanting, you're going to create more wanting. The answer is, it can occur when you allow everything to be as it is. So be permissive, be gentle, be compassionate, be okay with, I'm just feeling conflicted. I'm struggling. Let it be here. Breathe. Just give yourself permission to not get over it. And as you do, that state of being becomes the invitation for you to receive all kinds of colors of the rainbow, of possibilities that you could not invite in the black and white of right and wrong. It is just amazing to me what you receive. At very least, you start to receive awarenesses of entirely new ways of dealing with the conflict or relating to it. And then what that also does, sometimes it comes in as just effortless solutions. They just show up in your life. I've gotten all kinds of, success stories and texts of like, Sonia, this thing with my boss got resolved. This problem got resolved. This thing got fixed. It just happened. It just happened. And that's the power of being, because your consciousness creates your reality. Who you are being, how you are being, that consciousness creates your reality. When you are being without conflict because you're letting it be, then the experience of, being conflict free shows up in your life in expected and unexpected ways. So I hope this is helpful for you. I hope that you will take this into your day. Let it nourish you. Let it help you if you're feeling conflicted and inviting good fortune. And if you like this, please please share. Please hit the red subscribe button if you're on YouTube. It helps me reach the people that I'm here to serve. And if you'd like to get your own Receive Card Deck, go to receivecarddeck.com. Put your name and email, and I'll let you know when they're available. Okay, have a great day, and I'll see you at the next Rise and Receive. Bye, everybody.